Hello everyone and welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, June 29th. We are going to say goodbye to June and welcome in July next week. So it's going to be a great fun 4th of July for us. We have had it up here. Today on the show, we've got a great one for you too. We have from Thrive, we have Diana Boland coming in talking about a great ice cream social. Good time for July to have an ice cream social coming up. And then El Toro Water District's here talking about the maintenance and maintaining of the facilities and the cost and their new system that helps them monitor just those things. We'll be talking to Catherine Freshley about that as well. Hey, we want you talking about next week, talking about staying informed. 4th of July, we've got some great movies for you. We get the day off, which is kind of a bonus. We like that on the 4th of July. So we've got a great movie lineup for you instead of watching This Day. 9 a.m. on the 4th of July, 5:17 to Paris, a great Clint Eastwood movie about the true story about a terrorist attack on a Paris train and Americans that intervened in that one. Then The Philadelphia Story, a classic movie from way back when. That's going to be at noon on the 4th of July. And then 5 p.m., California's Gold, San Juan Capistrano edition with Huell Hauser from California's Gold. Great show, great person, really a great one to watch, and it really does show off the mission really beautifully. So make sure you watch all of those on 4th of July, and then get out and enjoy some fireworks and picnic and all that kind of fun stuff in between the movies, of course. All right, we want to take a quick look at the weather before we go to our break, and it's going to be a warm one today, folks. It's going to be up in the 80s for this weekend, mid-80s for most of the weekend. Beautiful temperatures for 4th of July picnics and outside, having some fun at the pool, barbecues, whatever it might be. And then as we head into the next week, so it's going to be happening on the 4th, and we got those temperatures maintaining all the way through the week. So enjoy this weekend and enjoy the 4th as we look ahead. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. And we are going to be cruising down PCH for this one. This is a fun little video here. Our sunrise this morning was 5:43. Sunset tonight is going to be 8:05, and that's a beautiful sunset shot there. Thank you so much for that one. PJ sent us that one, and it's a great looking photo. If you'd like to, if you'd like to send us a photo or video, if you have maybe a really great video, we could use that one too. Email it to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the photo, and we will put it in our sunrise sunset segment. All right, take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll be talking to the folks from the El Toro Water District. Stay with us.
The Salvation Army Orange County is committed to building hope in people's lives rather than just more shelters. The Center of Hope, a comprehensive homeless care solution, combines a 325-bed emergency shelter, 72 permanent supportive housing apartments, on-site medical, dental, vision, and mental health care, and an award-winning drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. Donate today to transform lives, create safer neighborhoods, and provide an opportunity to end chronic homelessness in Orange County.
Lois Saxon writes, "When I moved into my home, I was given a telephone list of my immediate neighbors. A week later, I was desperately in need of that list as I was badly disabled with the flu. A neighbor on that list went to the store and bought some Gatorade to hydrate me, and then kept track to make sure I was okay."
Lots happening at the El Toro Water District as always in July. We're using a lot more water this time of year as well. We're all drinking, we're all watering the lawns a little bit more, and we want to welcome Director Kathleen Freshley to our program. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you very much, and I really appreciate the opportunity of really talking with you and with the community, because one of the real challenges for infrastructure is making sure that it is reliable. Like, the mission of El Toro is to ensure reliable water.
Right.
Okay, with that is clean and meets all the U.S. and California health standards. Mm-hmm. We also have the responsibility, another mission is to ensure that the wastewater we treat, effectively, cost effectively, but conscious of the health issues that can come from it. Mm-hmm. And so in doing that, it requires capital to maintain the facilities. And if people think back, you know, like the waste treatment plant, we'll show you later, but you know, you see it on the golf course if you go down Ridge Route. That plant was built by Cortese in 1962.
Wow.
And you know, and the purpose of having that plant was he wanted treated water for the golf course. Now, most people don't realize this, but there's a big water line just for the golf course that GRF has the responsibility for.
Right.
That was installed in 1962, and so they better, hopefully they're reserving and recognizing that there's going to be a time that water line may have to be replaced.
And I think that's the thing people don't maybe understand or don't think about when they're think about water. What they think about water when, one, a pipe breaks, or two, hey, my water tastes funny. And that's all part of what goes into really assessment management, capital planning, and making sure that the money is set aside for those constant replacements and making sure everything's working as we go.
Absolutely. And so what we've done as an agency is we've gone out and we've working with consultants and have developed software, and you're going to see the pictures here as we go through.
Let's go to slide our first slide up, the water recycling plant that we were talking about.
Yeah, the water recycling plant. See, and the pump stations. That was the first one where we hired consultants to work with us and go out and evaluate all the assets. Now there's 1,766 assets in those two areas, just in the recycling plant and the pump stations.
And when we talk about assets, we're just talking about separate parts of the whole system.
It could be a valve.
Right.
It could be valves. It could be joints. It could be pumps. It could be fans. You know, I mean, all of those things have to work in synchronism.
And all of those things have their own lifespan and their own failures. And,
absolutely.
you know, some are run until they break, and some are no, this needs to be replaced, like filters, those kinds of things.
That's right. You know, and so what we're showing here are these slides that our engineering and operations people are using now to form the basis of developing, you know, actually it's a 50-year plan, looking out 50 years as to what are we going to need to spend and where and when. And so this whole exercise takes into account, and you'll see from one of the slides, the asset discipline, like it mechanical or electrical, or is it instrumentation, or is it civil? It could be just simple civil stuff, you know. And so those are the things you condition. And then the next estimate is to take, okay, what's the condition of these things?
Right, and so, that's the next slide. Slide 3 kind of gives us that condition, the average condition, which is, you know, good but not new.
Right. Yeah, and then, you know, well, we're over 60 years old, and so, you know, being average condition is good. Sure. You know, but at some point it's going to be less than average, and it's going to be in trouble. So the next slide then is we go through and we determined what's the useful life. Right. How much useful life can we expect? Right,
run of life of whatever that item is going to be.
Yeah, if it's a valve, what's the expected life of the valve? Is it 30 years? Is it 10 years? Or is it 50 years? And depending on its condition, it could be any one of those things. Right. But having that understanding is important, and so that was the analysis that was done, and it's showing then. That's showing on slide number 4. Right. Now, the next thing we do then is say, okay, now we've determined possibly what the useful life is. The remaining thing to really consider then is what would be the consequence of failure? Because just because something is old doesn't necessarily mean it has to be replaced. It depends on the consequence if that particular item fails.
For instance, a fan can fail, and okay, we're going to replace the fan, we're going to shut down this when we have other ones back up. But if a valve fails or a pipe fails, that's a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah, and we look at then what is the risk to us? Because if it's one that has a high risk and it goes, we rate it from 1 to 10, and 10 is the highest. If it happened to be a wastewater line that's dumping all the sewage into the street or into a creek, that becomes expensive.
Yeah.
We can't tolerate even that because, I mean, my God, we'd be in trouble with the
You need to be
EPA
more
and California
proactive
and
than
everybody.
reactive to that one.
That's right. See, so that's why you want to take a look and say, okay, what's the risk to us? Because if it's a low risk, then that means the priority we have as far as allocation of our funds should be not as high as one that's a high risk. And that's the whole planning of this thing, is determining, and you'll see on there the average risk, the combining the condition and sequence of failure, and we get a risk score for each of the elements.
And that combines a number of things we've talked about in terms of all of those risk and danger and all of those kinds of things.
And all those things. See? So this is really a tool to help us to make sure that as we proceed, that we're really investing the money that comes from the ratepayers, that's where it's coming from, that we're investing the funds that you're giving us wisely with the greatest, the greatest effect for the community. To really make sure that we're doing, and then slide number 7 shows what our anticipated costs are going to be over the next 50 years.
Now, the costs always seem to outweigh what's coming in the door sometimes. Do you feel that way a lot of the times? Like we just, to do everything you'd want to do or like to do, there's no way that the current budget can really cover those things.
That's right. And that's exactly why you have to sit down and really study this thing and prioritize and making sure that when you're setting, because in the old days, before you had this kind of really analysis, we'd say, well, that motor's 50 years old, and it's designed for, we better replace that motor. Yet that might be a motor that on a fan that has very insignificant effect on the operation. And so the old days was we did it on the basis of age.
Right.
Just like we do with people after 65,
Done.
regardless of whether they, what their capabilities are.
Okay.
See? And so this is the issue, and that's why we invested, money in buying this software and working with the consultants to really come up with the most logical way of using the funds that we're going to. And so chart number 7 basically shows the whole next 50 years that we're going to need to spend close to $500 million. That's $10 million a year average. But not every year is going to be 10 million.
And we're not really talking about brand new builds here. We're just talking about maintaining the infrastructure
that exists. Yeah, we're not building anything new.
Right.
And then if you look out in 2053, you see that real high peak. Well, that is a result of anticipating, because the next slide is 8. Slide 8 shows the R6 reservoir, which we just replaced, the bottom liner and the cover. That was $25 million, and its expected life is 30 years. So we are anticipating, we just finished it last year, or this year, and so we're anticipating we got to start setting money aside.
Right. Because
we know 30 years from now, we're going to have at least a $25 million bill.
Right.
That's a lot.
And that's today's money, so down the 30 years from now.
And 30 years from now, that could be $50 million. See, so that was the whole strategy that we had in coming up and buying that software and hiring the consultants to work with us, so that going forward, we're really using the funds that we get from the ratepayers the most effectively, we believe, for our own society.
Yeah. And how's this process changed the way you guys look at maintenance and infrastructure in general?
Well, what we do is, it forces us to be really aware, and from an operations standpoint, we've just built software. If you go online and look at our monthly report, if you happen to, you'll see an operations report where we're monitoring now and we have set times where we're monitoring every valve, every connection throughout, and we track what we're finding and how many are we replacing, and see how that conforms to what our anticipation, what we had planned and anticipated. We do know that right now, that going forward, because we know we got to get up to spending about $10 million a year, and currently we've been running about we've raised it up to about $4 million a year, and it's got to get higher if we're going to fulfill our mission.
Right.
To ensure that we're delivering you water that meets all the health standards and is reliable, and that we're taking away all the sewage and the wastewater, and to not have any health issues, and not create any other issues for the community based on our dumping water into waterways and things like this. Because let's recognize our wastewater that we don't use for recycling goes to the ocean.
Yeah. Well, those are the realities, and you guys are keeping on top of it over there. El Toro Water District Director Catherine Freshley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, you're welcome. Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful for people.
I think it was very informative, that's for sure.
And
thanks a lot.
That was the purpose.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Adapt to it, we strive to make the everyday tasks easier by providing our customers with the tools they need to be successful. We carefully explain the use and care of all of our equipment. Adapt to it has been in Laguna Woods for over 20 years, and we know that nothing in life stays constant. So we can help you adapt to all the changes in your life. Adapt to it sells and rents items and always delivers with a smile. Come in today to experience what we mean when we say, when you can't change it, adapt to it.
I want to welcome Diana Boland to the program, and she is with Thrive. It's not really a club, it's kind of an entity that we kind of discussed just a second ago, but it's a great addition to the community here in terms of getting people out and about and in community, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Thrive wants everyone here to have an experience of joy.
Mm-hmm. And do you know what the origin of Thrive was? How did it all start? What was the impetus of the idea? Do you really know?
No,
it's been around
I don't really. I mean, I've been there for about 18 months. I think Thrive has been in existence for maybe 10 years.
Okay.
And started out with the idea of a very few. I think Beth Patek was one of those. And if I'm not giving somebody else credit, I apologize. Again, I'm kind of a newbie, but
yeah. It was called Thrive in the Community for a little while. Now it's just called Thrive. And
yes.
It's what's kind of evolved a little bit in terms of its mission. But what do you think its core mission is?
Joy.
Yeah?
Joy. Just bringing joy and connection. I shouldn't say just. I mean, joy and connection. Those are two things that help with longevity.
Now, do you think folks move into a community like this, and maybe they don't really get the sense that it's community-based. Like you get what you put into it a little bit, right?
Correct.
Like
absolutely.
It doesn't just come to you. So that's what Thrive is all about. Like, hey, get out there, explore, and discover folks that are out there.
Yes, and make it free to explore. Make it with the goodies like ice cream to explore and information.
Yes, and that leads us to our segment here that we're talking about. You guys have the ice cream social coming up. You love to do this every summer, and it's coming up on the 15th of July.
Yippee! I love ice cream.
So tell us a little about Memorial Care's involvement and how you guys kind of plan these things out.
Well, we usually start planning maybe 3 months in advance. And we are grateful to have Memorial Care Saddleback helping us with the expenses. We'll have the OC ice cream truck on premises, and we will be taking reservations for the event. Without a reservation, people cannot have ice cream.
Oh, come on.
No,
what happened to all that joy we were talking about a second ago?
Well, we also need a little organization because people will be unhappy if they get there and there isn't any ice cream left.
That's true. That's true. It's a little enough for everybody.
Yes. So I don't think I answered your question though. So I mean, the idea is to get people together, help them to socialize, and also to help them see possibilities as far as what's available in the community, as well as get valuable information from Saddleback Memorial Care.
Right. Now, do you think folks are kind of surprised sometimes about just how many clubs and how many groups and how many activities there are for everybody out here?
Yes. In fact, I think that if people, in fact, I have a new neighbor and he doesn't get the globe, and without the globe, you really can't understand what all is going on here. I mean, this helps. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yes.
I think we're a little bit a part of that.
Yes, absolutely. But I think it is an incredibly overwhelming experience if you're aware of it. But if you're not, you're just in your unit and you're kind of like floating around trying to figure out what there is to do here.
Now, you guys were recently featured in the Globe, right?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Yep. We are on page 9 of this week's Globe.
Okay, terrific. Talk a little bit about what you do and what the organization is all about.
Yes, and it gives you information about the phone number to call for RSVP for the ice cream.
Oh, that's important too. Yeah, we had that on the screen a little bit with the flyer you guys gave out. So calling Senior Advocate Jessica, and make sure you get your reservation in there for the ice cream social on the 15th.
Yes.
When you guys go about planning events and doing things, what is like does it evolve as you go? Okay, we've done this, now we want to go to this next level, or things like that?
Well, we try to do 3 events a year, but that doesn't limit us to other events that we might choose to do. So it's kind of an ongoing brainstorming that goes on in the meetings. And in fact, right now we're brainstorming about hearing aids. And how we might help people in the community who cannot afford hearing aids to get hearing aids. And the first step is a test to get the hearing tested. So that idea just came from one of our members getting hearing aids. I already have mine. And it's, it really can make a difference. Socially, it can make a difference, just functioning everyday life. But there is either a resistance to hearing aids because of vanity, or else people can't afford them. So this is probably going to be our next initiative.
And the latter one's an important one too. Like sometimes, I think the vanity, I like to think, I don't know for sure, but I like to think the vanity part is going away a little bit because they're not as obtrusive as they used to be. They're not these giant, blobs sitting at the end of the earth. They're so microscopic sometimes you don't even notice people are wearing them.
Yes.
But there is that barrier to entry sometimes in terms of financial people who are on really tight budgets. I can see where that would be a big bonus for folks.
Yes, yes. So we're hoping to work with the social services and also with the foundation to be able to make hearing aids affordable for a select group of people.
And one of the things, like you say, Thrive is about joy. And when people are isolated and they feel like they don't want to do social events or they don't want to go out there because they can't hear in group settings, that can be one of the things that prevents them from thriving and having that joy.
Correct,
right?
correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly correct.
So I love the idea that you guys are thinking in those terms, in terms of how can we get people who are feeling that way kind of back into the fold.
Yes, yes, because really this community, and I don't mean just Thrive, I mean all of Laguna Woods, is really a group of very warm-hearted, good people. And I think, once you realize that, it might be easier to get out into the community and just say hi, like we all do walking along Aliso Creek. I'm always saying hi to people. People are always saying hi to me. It's just a wonderful experience.
And that's true. I mean, there's so many clubs and there's so many things that anything you like can be found somehow, somewhere in Laguna Woods Village, whether it's woodworking or golf or riding horses or whatever it might be, painting, music, theater, that's all there. So those little things are just getting people out there and finding that joy in doing those things.
Yes, and you can build your own community. I mean, there are these sub-communities out there, and when I first arrived, I went to the Equestrian Center and had a community there, which I still maintain. And then gradually I expanded to what I really love, which is television.
There we go. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think all these clubs are really about, at their core, they're not about the thing they do, but they're about community within that group.
Yes, yes. Shared interests and support and working together. And I think, again, Thrive is about working together to create joyous results.
What do you get out of Thrive? Do you love it when you see the results? Do you love the community that you've built within Thrive and those kinds of things?
Well, I am actually, believe it or not, kind of shy, introverted.
I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, I know. My dad was kind of in show business, and he was like, get out there. So for me, Thrive was a safe place to explore working with a larger group.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think it's it's definitely working in terms of doing that. The Healthy Hearing Initiative, where are you guys in that process? Do we know? Do you have any dates in the future? Do you think there might have something coming up in the fall? I know you're doing your summer now.
Yeah. No, we're just I'd say about 30% there right now.
So it's one of those things you're working out, and maybe
yes,
get folks.
Yes,
so we'll hear more about that.
You sure will, and I'm very excited about that.
Okay, when it comes down to Thrive, what do you think people really need to understand about just getting out there and doing that? What are some of the barriers, and what are the things that you try to tell folks to get out and be involved?
Okay, first I'll be like abrupt and say, get over yourself, all right? There's nobody here, or hardly anybody here, that's gonna make you feel bad. So it's about, can you just get out and say hi? That's all, say hi. Say, I'm new here. And I think from there, you will find people just eager to help you feel at home.
Well, we're going to give folks one more opportunity to go out there and say hi and get out there and get over themselves. July 15th, it's going to be the Thrive Summer Social Event. There's going to be ice cream. You do need to RSVP. Numbers right there on the screen to make sure you do that. And we want to thank Diana very much from Thrive for coming in and talking to us today.
Yummy.
Yummy ice cream. Don't miss it. You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Did you know that tinnitus or ringing in your ears can be a sign of hearing loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Gabby Rodriguez, one of the audiologists here at Amazing Hearing. Contrary to what many doctors may tell you, tinnitus can be helped and often eliminated.
I'm a doctor, and I thought I'd have to live with the tinnitus, and my hearing has gone from loud tinnitus to no tinnitus in a week and a half.
Call us today for a free consultation. Amazing Hearing, the hearing and tinnitus experts.
It's Saturday. I'm here at the desk. Let's talk movies. We got a great one for you for today. It is Reunited. It stars Jesse Martin, and it's brought to us by Harvard Eye Associates. And it's a film that is going to be talking about 6 best friends from college, now in their 40s, who reconnect during their 25th reunion. Secrets are revealed. One will force them to reevaluate their lives. Oh my goodness. 2 p.m. at 6 with the subtitles, 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Let's take a check on our weekend weather before we head out. It is going to be a warm weekend. We got temperatures in the mid-80s for the weekend, and that's going to kind of hold true for the rest of the week as we go into July 4th week, and so that'll be nice temperatures all week long. Cool overnights. Enjoy those as you do. And on Monday on the program, we were going to talk into Caring Senior Service, and also folks from the library, going to update about what's going on over at the library as well here. And that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.